It took me 3 years to fill this sketchbook and 2 months to fill this one here. Today I want to show you both of them and also share why it took me so long to fill this one and why this was so quick. If you're new around here, my name is Keiko. I'm based in Hawaii. I am a mixed media artist and also a watercolor paint maker. Let's start with this one. This is a small sketchbook by Strathmore. It's a travel sketchbook. It has cotton paper. And as you can see, just a few pages. I'm not even sure. It says, oh yeah, 20 pages. And this is a designated nature journal I did this year, 2026, from May till July. Nature journaling is basically you go outside, you are in nature, you look at things that interest you, you observe, and you describe them. There are different ways to do it. You can draw pictures. You can also write down some text observations. I usually do both, so I like to go and either collect things that I take back home with me. It really depends on whether or not I have time to actually stay where I am outside, or sometimes I collect things if it's okay to collect them and take them back home. And I draw them there. So I started this one in May 2026. This was drawn on a beach here, local beach here in Kona, Hawaii. This was done on one of my most frequent walks I do with my dogs. And I came across this gorgeous tree and I really loved the texture of it. And it was also really curious how these ferns grew out of the crevices here. And one of my dogs is now 7 months old. His name is Poi and he is a Chihuahua Terrier and Jack Russell mix. Instead of going out far away, I decided I'll just stay in our backyard. We are incredibly lucky, my husband and I, to live surrounded by large trees and beautiful tropical plants and flowers. So I decided to just basically step outside and draw these heliconia, and then also I have an anthurium garden that I started drawing, planting anthuriums and then drawing them. And we're already in June. So this is a super interesting flower and tree in Hawaii. So while the flowers are on the tree, they are yellow, and then once they fall down, they turn red. So the older they get, the more burgundy red they turn, and it's such a gorgeous color. I actually prefer the flowers once they age. Then this is a totally new chapter. We went on a camper van tour around the island, and I decided to take this little book with me. And this is about a farm we visited, and they had different animals, super cute ducks, and a very friendly pig. She loved to be petted. And yeah, this is the sign at the entrance, Paradise Meadows. Highly recommend, if you ever make it to the Big Island, to give them a visit. Then we parked our van, this is the camper van, down at South Point, or Kalai. And it is a beautiful spot, but it's so windy. I mean, it's so windy. I actually tried to sketch outside, but I couldn't even hold my pen. It was so windy. So in that case, whenever that happens, like impossible to draw outside, I just take pictures, I take photos, and then I look for a quiet spot, sit down and draw. This is also on the camper van tour. I just wanted to point out to you that what a difference. Okay, so notice here and on all the pages I use outlines with a fine liner. And then all of a sudden on this one I just did watercolor. And I think it was because I was actually drawing this on scene and it was kind of getting dark. And then this beautiful rainbow showed up. I was totally in awe. But I honestly just didn't have time to do the outlines. The watercolor was still wet, and then there were rain clouds coming in, so I basically had to just grab everything real quick and race inside the van. And then I guess later I just thought, okay, yeah, this is it. I could go back in there and finish it with the outlines, but you know, it was just a spontaneous painting of that coastline, and I just felt happy, quite happy the way it was. And then we have a big jump here from June to July this month. Again, this is on one of my favorite walks we do with the dogs, and there is a huge, huge Song of India tree, and whenever I pass it, I just marvel at how gloriously large it is and beautiful. And I have actually tried to grow my own, and I think for about a year now, it's just been, you know, tiny. It's not really growing. It hasn't died yet, which is great, but yeah. So I just thought it's a nice little comparison between me trying to grow this tree and then that tree actually being there and being just super beautiful. I have been so obsessed with dragon fruits this month. It is dragon fruit season here. I don't know if you know that, but they are a cactus. So they grow, it's incredible. It's like this long cactus, and they have incredible large flowers. And you know, I should have probably, yeah, drawn these too. Anyways, the fruits are an interesting flavor. It's like a mix between a kiwi and a pear, I'd say. They come in different varieties, but I think most common here, at least where I live, is the pink on the outside and like white on the inside variety. And these cute stickers are by Bailey, Mio Art. I'm gonna leave a link to, you know, there'll be more stickers coming. I'm gonna leave a link to all the artists and also a description of the sketchbook that I used down below in the description box. If you're interested in nature drawing or nature journaling, this is a book I can highly, highly recommend. I actually can't recommend it enough. So I used to, for the longest time, borrow this from the library online with the Libby app, which is in America an app for the public library, and they let you borrow books, you know, digital copies of the books that you can then read on your iPad, for example. And you know, after getting the book from the library like 25 times, I kind of decided, okay, it's time to get the book, like the paper copy. And boy, was I just pleasantly surprised, because you can actually see how big the book is when you have the digital version, and then, you know, the page breaks are kind of sometimes different. I mean, you know, you might just have this part on your screen and then this is on the next page, so sometimes pages get divided up in a strange way, whereas when you have this book, it's, oh man, not only is it gorgeous, but it also is so rich in all sorts of information, drawing tips, how to draw tutorials, and especially in the beginning section, just such interesting aspects of nature journaling, of being outside, of experiencing nature, of slowing down. It's just such a wonderful, refreshing book. The author's name is John Muir Laws, and he is, I don't know, kind of like the king of nature journaling, I guess. He's also extremely generous with his knowledge, so there are tons of videos on his website. They're all free. But yeah, again, I highly recommend this book as well. Okay, on to my other sketchbook. This is a Royal Talens Art Creations sketchbook. It is, of course, much bigger than the other one I showed you, so more than double the size. And this one here has 80 pages, or 160 if you counted both sides of the page, whereas the Strathmore had 20 pages, or 40 if you count both sides. The other difference is that this one here was a designated or themed sketchbook, so I did only nature journaling in this one. Whereas this one is kind of like a catch-all everyday sketchbook. So kind of like whatever comes to mind. This sketchbook was given to me as a gift by my friends Katrin and Sonja, and that's why there's also this beautiful engraving in the front. I started this sketchbook in May 2023, so 3 years ago, and the first pages kind of like to just break them in. I just did swatches of a few of the colored pencils that I had at that time, and I did a few color palettes, and I find this is a great way to break in a new sketchbook, unless you want to make it a themed sketchbook. But if you are just looking to break in a new sketchbook that you know you just want to use all the time and every day, then I feel like doing quick sketches, swatches, color palettes is a great way. These are our cats, Makai and Mocha, and dragon fruits. And it's interesting, isn't it? I just showed you the other ones I did. And yeah, 3 years ago and today, it's quite the difference. I do like these sketches. I just felt not very precious with this sketchbook, even though it's very precious to me because it was a gift given to me. However, I really decided back then I don't want it to be a themed sketchbook. I just want to use it for whenever I have an idea. I want to try out new colors, new materials. And then I also started using it for my live streams and for my own challenges. So if you've been around here for a while, you know that I host a monthly challenge with 4 prompts, and they all have a monthly theme. And I started using this sketchbook to just kind of try out a few different things for my challenges, or also for my YouTube videos. So here, for example, I was trying out different types of crayons or masking fluid in order to save the white of the paper and also to work with negative space. This was for a challenge prompt. So I think that month was a limited color palette and the theme was fruits. And you can see that, yeah, this is basically the same thing. So this is like the practice run, and then this is what I did in the live stream, I think. And you know, you can see I explained with these thumbnails how to go about creating a composition like that. I tested out some Neo color crayons here. And then this was for another live stream. Same color palette. And there are some collage pieces on there as well. That's a cute one. I think this is a draw it in your style prompt, and it wasn't a cat and a bumblebee. I think it was a girl in a bumblebee costume or something like that. And I just decided to put our cat in this. More swatches. And I find drawing thumbnails extremely helpful. If I'm planning a bigger composition, I usually go in and do some thumbnails first to try out the colors and to try out, you know, how do I like the composition. And then this is probably my least favorite page in the whole sketchbook. I don't even know what that is. Oh, it says here. Okay, it's Stabilo Woodies on Schminke Gouache. And yeah, that did not work. The rest is fine, but but this is fine. This is exactly what the catch-all sketchbook should be about. You know, you just don't overthink it. You just jump in and draw whatever you like. And again, more swatches. I honestly sometimes just sit down if I'm not inspired, but I still want to do something creatively. I just sit down and do swatches. And oftentimes just the process of doing swatches gets me going and creating a little bit more. Looks like we are approaching Christmas. So I did a collaboration with Tanya, Miss Nice Day over in Germany. We did a calendar together, an advent calendar. and we were just brainstorming a few of the motifs. More swatches, more swatches. These are all Derwent colored pencils. One of my favorites, water soluble, but interestingly, once they dry, you can't reactivate them. So they're pretty unique, I think, with that feature. Yep, swatches, swatches, swatches. I went a bit more elaborate with these ones, you know, with a little like doodling and varied the lettering on those. And actually, I really like this one. This is watercolor and colored pencil. It's my favorite combo of materials. Watercolor blobs, basically, and then definition and texture with colored pencils. These are actually also swatches. I just decided to do them in flower shapes. And then this is a few drawings of one of our cats, where the cat was actually laying in front of me, and I just tried to draw the cat in the different poses. Same cat, same evening. And then this looks like a Japan trip, and the things, yeah, definitely Muji. Yeah, so this is when I was in Japan, and I got a few new art supplies and tested them out. Yes, it's true. I love Japan. And kind of similar to the cat drawings earlier, this is my neighbor's dog. So she came over here, fell asleep, and I mean, this is so darling. I don't know what she did there. Did she like fall asleep on her head? So funny. I'm not quite sure what I wanted to do over here. I can tell you that this is the German version of the word creative. You know, in German you write it with a K and then the E is missing at the end. Yeah, just doing some lettering. This is actually how I started my art career back up 10 years ago. You know, I started with lettering and calligraphy first, and then I moved into painting. This is kind of wild, isn't it? Again, the German version of the word creative, kreativ. Working with negative space, defining the letters through the background. If I don't comment on a certain page, it's probably because I don't quite remember what it was for. Which, you know, in this case, yeah. This is, though I do remember this very well, I did a video here on YouTube about my favorite art supplies, mixed media art supplies in that year, which was 2024. So I'm going to leave a card up here for you if you want to watch that video. I'm talking about all my favorite mixed media art supplies. This was another super fun one for Peggy Dean's Summer Creative Retreat, I believe. Yes, July. So it's a yearly online gathering. It's almost a week of free workshops, art workshops. And by the way, it's happening right now, so you can still sign up. I'm going to leave a link down below, and I'm teaching again this year. This one, the Hawaiian Akepa bird, I think my mom gifted me a bunch of brush pens, and this was just kind of like trying them out. And I did love the very vibrant colors here. Very, very rough, quick sketches. Very similar to those tiny thumbnails I showed you earlier, just a little bit bigger in size. And I started doing these more and more. So not super tiny thumbnails, but a little bit bigger, very quick sketches, probably just maybe 3 minutes for some of them, maybe 5, just to get a sense of the colors and, you know, the composition. Same over here. However, then on this side, this is a bit more time consuming with gouache and then Neocolor on top and more gouache on top. This was again for one of my own challenges that I host over on Instagram and also here on YouTube. And the theme that month was nightscapes. And we did a few more of these. This is, by the way, inspired by Katie Moody. So I saw this kind of technique first on her channel. By the way, because I'm just talking about her, I have a beautiful video where I interview her, and I find it so helpful. The tips she shared about art making and sketchbooking. So I'm going to leave another card up here if you want to watch that. Okay, yeah, another month in my challenge. So that looks like seascapes maybe, or ocean. Did some thumbnails for that month. Birds, I love drawing birds. So I think this was probably for the Inktober month, but I participated in an alternative challenge that focused on birds. So I think it was called Birdtober. Swatches. This is the Hawaiian bee, Nalomeli Maoli, and that was again for one of my challenges. We're now in October 2024, and then I usually host 2 live streams per month during each month of the challenge, and this is one way for me to prep for one of the live streams and to see what I want to, teach in that live stream. I try to keep them under 1.5 hours, so I always try and see, how long does it take me. This one here was for a live stream with Tanya and Steffi from Germany, using brush pens as my base layer and then colored pencils for the texture and the details. So this was the drawing I did beforehand, again to see if I can fit it into an hour approximately, and then in the actual live stream I added a little baby bear. Very quick sketch of my neighbor's dog, and these 2 stickers are by Lotus and Luna, and this one is by Tea Thoughts. Okay, Mele Kalikimaka. Yeah, definitely now in December 2024 with some quick chickens. Those are cute. So watercolor base layer and then Posca markers, ink tints, colored pencils on top. This is another person I can highly recommend, Trailbound Sketches. Again, I'm going to link everyone down below in the description box. He is in Alaska and he makes the most stunning videos. He literally goes outside in freezing temperatures, up in the mountains, like so much snow, super cold. He actually uses gin as his painting water because in those freezing temperatures, if he used water, it would just freeze, like literally freeze on his brush and in his paints. Just amazing guy. Super nice personality too, very charming. So yeah, can highly recommend following that guy. Check him out. And oh, this is a big jump. So this is January 2025, and then all of a sudden this is July. So the reason this happens is that I never work in just one sketchbook. I mean, due to the size of this is my stay-at-home sketchbook. I have usually 5 or 6 sketchbooks that I work in simultaneously. So it just happens that it takes me a few years to fill a sketchbook, and that's fine too. I do like the fact that I can look, on the first pages of the book and then see what I did towards the end of the book and see the journey, which I think is really fascinating to watch. I'm trying to remember what the theme was for this one. Might have been birds, I'm not sure. Hummingbird, crystals and gems. I'm not sure. But yeah, I do remember this was a live stream here on YouTube. This was a live stream as well. If you are interested in watching any of my live stream tutorials, I have a designated live tab in my YouTube channel, and all my live sessions are recorded if you're interested in watching. Another live stream, this was extremely fun. I totally loved the combination of this brush pen. It was a Japanese black calligraphy pen, and then just filling out with these really intense, like neon fluorescent colors. So this was, I think, product packaging. And then in the live stream, the actual live stream, I brought in a few other products. This was a King's Hawaiian sweetbread and some chocolate-coated strawberry white chocolate macadamia nuts and some Hawaiian tea. Yeah, super fun. I do remember that your guys' feedback was really good on this session. Like, a lot of people wrote me that they enjoyed this session. Now that's a cutie. Very different. I mean, it's kind of different. It's very interesting, isn't it? What a difference line work makes. Look at these fat brush strokes, very bold. And then here, the more fine line work with a colored pencil. So it was during this time where I noticed that I'm getting more and more interested in nature journaling. So not just drawing the subject, but also just finding out more about it. So in this case, it was the Costa's hummingbird. I participated again in the Birdtober challenge and tried to depict this bird in different poses, and then also try to find out some fun facts, interesting facts about the bird. Okay, skip to Halloween and Christmas. Oh, this is a bunch of stamps I got from Emily over on Oahu. Her brand's called Kaulumaika, and she teaches a lot about native Hawaiian plants. And then she created this series of acrylic stamps with native Hawaiian flowers. Then on to both this and this page, another live stream. This is a combination of a Christmas theme, a wreath, and a candle, and then Hawaiian naupaka flowers. I usually try to incorporate something from Hawaii into my live streams. Not always, but it's definitely something that I try to do. So I remember taking this sketchbook on the road, actually, and then trying to come up with some cat drawings for my December challenge. And I had a few like super kawaii cats, and then a bit more realistic, like sitting in a bunch of ferns. And I think I just ended up doing the cat in the sock. And just a bunch of really quick Christmassy doodles. Okay, and now we are in the new year, 2026. So in this year's challenge, I'm really putting the focus again on Hawaiian themes in my challenge. So the first theme was ocean animals, and this was done with just colored pencils and then a little bit of an outline with a marker. And then up here we have a stamp that I created a long time ago. This was actually done on the iPad, so it's a digital creation, which I don't do much at all, especially not anymore. But yeah, back then, occasionally, I still painted digital. I have to say that I just don't really enjoy it that much anymore because so much in my life happens digitally. You know, I have to do a lot of work on the computer. So for me, painting and drawing analog on paper is the best thing ever. It really enables me to slow down and to enjoy the process a lot more. Yeah, we're still in Ocean Month here. I found out a few really interesting facts about the octopus, like they have 3 hearts and blue blood. How amazing. Then we are in a new month of the challenge, which was all about Hawaiian birds. This is the EEB, and I did sketches with just the black Japanese calligraphy brush pen. Then another Hawaiian bird. This is actually the state bird of Hawaii, the Hawaiian goose, also called nene. And this was done, I think this is just a little bit of brush pen here, the green one, and then colored pencil. I love owls. I'm so fascinated by them. Hawaii has one endemic owl, the pueo, and I think one of the most distinctive features is the area around the eyes, and I always call it the mascara area because it literally looks like they're wearing mascara. I know, I'm sorry, this is not very scientific, but they are just so amazing. Those eyes are just mesmerizing. And I have actually encountered pueo a few times, usually at dusk, and so far always when I was in my car. So one time it flew next to the car, and it was such a strange moment because you see something moving, but not on the ground, like in the air. And it's kind of dark, and you look over and then, wow, it's an owl. And yeah, the other time the owl was sitting in front of my car in the middle of the road, and I just first thought maybe it's a cat. So I braked and I looked, and then this owl turns and looks at me, and then just very, very leisurely like walks off the road and then takes off flying. I was like, what? Yeah, it was just amazing. A few more sketches of birds. Hawaiian birds. This was still in my February challenge this year. This was actually something I did for a very good friend of mine who got married this year. So they wanted I think this is a California or like West Coast, a redwood tree, a coastal redwood tree. So yeah, I drew that for them. And on to this thing. This is actually me trying to find colors for a new watercolor set. So again, if you've been following me for a while, you know that for almost 10 years now, I have created and made my own handmade watercolor paints. And I love creating curated sets. So sometimes it takes me months and months to come up with a theme for a new set, and then to do research which colors fit that theme. So in this case, I wanted to do a set about Japan. I am half Japanese. My mom is Japanese, and we go to Japan almost every year to visit family. And Japan really has some interesting, very prevalent colors they use for different purposes. So I just kind of tested out colors here, and then how they work together. And now we are in March, which the theme was maybe jungle. I'm actually not sure. Again, I'm not sure. It's not that long ago, but yeah, I forget. So this is the same motif, but with different colors. So which one do you like better? I kind of love the green, but then I did this one with like totally wrong colors. And, you know, I feel kind of drawn to that too. This was a very interesting experiment. I tried to draw these opihi shells like in the same position. I didn't change the position at all, and I just drew them with different media, just to kind of see not only what I like the best, but also, you know, what difference it makes and what the different outcome is. It's an extremely good exercise if maybe you have a few favorite tools and you kind of want to develop one further, and you want to see, you know, what you really like, what speaks to you. You can do this exercise. Some more line drawing with a calligraphy brush, and I'd say this is probably, yeah, just a regular brush pen and some colored pencil maybe. And we have a definitely like Japanese theme going on here because sakura cherry blossoms and tsubaki is a native Japanese flower. April 12. So that was shortly after my trip to Japan. And then here you can see me try out some sketches for the sticker for my Japan-inspired set. I think I ended up using something very similar to this here for the thank you card. This actually I turned into a sticker, and then this turned out to be the sticker on the actual set. I just pulled these out. So this is what the thank you card ended up looking like. This was a sticker for the set, and the horse sticker. That was just kind of like a freebie that came with every order. And we are in April. This was, I tried to combine for that month's challenge, Japan and Hawaii. So as I said earlier, I kind of wanted to stay within the Hawaii theme, but you know, you go travel and it inspires you that month, right? So I tried to come up with things that connect Hawaii and Japan. And we have a high population of Japanese immigrants here in Hawaii, so they influence the food, for example, here a lot. And yeah, so this month was all about like influences like that here in Hawaii. Then on to the next month, in May, the theme was lei, so Hawaiian flower garlands. And these were just a few sketches to get ideas for the 4 prompts in that month. Ooh, and this was fun. So my friend Michelle gave me her kakimori nib to try out. And it was interesting because at first I had so much trouble with it. It has a very distinct shape, and I didn't know how to hold it. I didn't know even like how to dip it in the ink, how much and whatnot. And then I totally got into it. I think at this point here, I was just nerding out on these little details. And then I discovered that you can just hold it at an angle. I don't have it here, unfortunately. I would show you the nib, but yeah, just know that I had much fun testing it out and like laying it on the side and getting broader strokes and then using the tip for some really fine strokes. So when I go to Japan next, I will get one for sure. This was Kona Coffee Month in my challenge in June. So just a little fun fact on the side, we actually have a small 2-acre coffee farm. And yeah, because harvest usually starts in the summer and then goes up until the fall or even sometimes in the winter, I thought, yeah, beginning of the coffee season, why not do some coffee? Last week of June was, I think, coffee, cake, and flowers. Yeah, I really like this page. It's just, yeah, I like the colors and yeah, I like that one. This is actually some preparation for the workshop I'm going to teach at the Summer Creative Retreat in August 2026. I'm going to talk about style and how finding your line can help you find your style. This is just a very, very short version of what I'm going to talk about in the workshop. And this is this month, Aloha 26 July. So this month I used words rather than very decisive prompts. So it was reflections, bird's eye view, relaxing, and refreshing. And the theme was island summer. So there was an overall theme, but rather than, you know, giving very concrete examples, I had you guys just decide for yourself what to draw for each prompt. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite pages. Not only do I love drawing dragon fruits, but I have known that my favorite combo is watercolor and colored pencil for quite a while now. But I think it's always nice when you draw something and you just get, what's the word? Ooh, spacing out on the word. You know, you just realize, yeah, that really is my favorite. So, wow, look at this mess. What a happy last page this is. Yeah, I actually drew this yesterday and today. I was thinking about doing a theme called Over and Under in the next few months in my challenge. Basically, the idea is to depict a scene where you can see both over and under. For example, what's below the water and above the water. Or it could even be something like on the table and below the table. In the beginning, I mentioned that this book was gifted to me by my friends Katrin and Sonia, and this beautiful page was done by Katrin. And it says, "Happiness is the richest thing we will ever own." Isn't that the truth? To recap why I filled this one in only 2 months and this one took me almost 3 years, I feel like that I am drawn to themed sketchbooks in general because I don't have to think about what I'm going to draw in my sketchbook. It doesn't matter if it's a sketchbook designated to birds, for example, or like this one, more general, to nature journaling. Obviously, and that's another reason, the size matters. This one is much smaller, it's very portable. This is literally less than half the size of my large sketchbook. So I tend to take the smaller sketchbook with me a lot more than I would this one. This usually stays at home, and it's kind of like the catch-all sketchbook where I go to, or which I reach for when I don't have another sketchbook actually. So this is kind of like the one that I turn to when I have an idea and I want to sketch it out, and there's no other sketchbook I can use for that. Another reason is that I was really inspired by nature journaling in the last few months. So I think this enthusiasm and inspiration led me to just gravitate towards filling this a lot more. And last but not least, I feel like for me, nature journaling is a very low-key approach in the sense that I don't have to come up with a complete storyline, idea, and everything for my artwork. I don't have to create from my imagination, for example, and I don't have to come up with a theme or anything. I can basically just go outside and draw what I see. So just out of curiosity, let me know down in the comments how many sketchbooks you have at the moment. Maybe you've just started a new one, or maybe you've just also started to be interested in nature journaling. Do you have more everyday catch-all sketchbooks, or do you love having themed sketchbooks with very designated themes? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, I appreciate a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, that would be wonderful too. I'll see you in the next video or live stream. Until then, mahalo, aloha, and happy creating!